Chapter 2783. After finding out that Mu Jins had taken the return of spring pill, the entire central plaza erupted into a wave of exclamations. Return of spring pill? Isn't that a pill that can restore one's youthful appearance? So sect leader Situ and the rest had taken the return of spring pill. No wonder their appearances have become so youthful. However, that's a lost pill. I never thought that the lost return of spring pill would appear again. This is a major piece of news. The crowd looked at each other in dismay as their faces flashed with a thick sense of excitement. Restoring one's youthfulness was everyone's dream. Although the pill formula for the return of spring pill had been lost in the Xingxian continent, there were still many pill masters who had worked hard to research the formula for the return of spring pill. It was just that there was no definite answer. However, the return of spring pill had appeared now. Lan Hongtai and the rest were also shocked. Such a pill was a temptation that no one could resist. However, when the crowd heard Mu Jins attribute the credit of the return of spring pill to Bailey Hongzhuang, they began to have some doubts. Isn't Bailey Hongzhuang the champion of this year's battle for Divine Throne? She's a cultivator. How could she possibly know how to refine pills? That's right. Besides, Bailey Hongzhuang's attainments in the art of healing and poison are already so terrifying. If she knows how to refine pills as well, that would be too frightening. If that's the case, Lan Yishuan's ability is much stronger than Lan Qingyan's. Lan Qingyan had snatched away Lan Yishuan's rainbow pearl and had just broken through to the purple realm. It's said that Lan Yishuan is only a step away from breaking through to the purple realm. That's natural. The heavens have chosen the inheritor of the rainbow pearl to be very different. If Lan Yishuan had not experienced all that, her cultivation would be extremely terrifying now. Hearing the crowd comparing her to Bailey Hongzhuang, Lan Qingyan's face was as black as the bottom of a pot. She did not need the crowd to remind her of these things. She had already understood it herself. However, she was unwilling to admit that there was such a huge gap between herself and Bailey Hongzhuang. Unfortunately, after Mu Jinsei's reminder, everyone's attention was diverted to this matter. This made her extremely depressed. The gazes of the Lan clan elders couldn't help but fall on Bailey Hongzhuang. She was 3 years younger than Bailey Hongzhuang. According to this situation, Bailey Hongzhuang's talent in cultivation was much stronger than Lan Qingyan's. Was this the strength of a true inheritor of the Rainbow Divine Pearl? For a moment, Lan Barong and the others looked at Lan Jingquang and Yu Xiqing with resentment. If all of this hadn't happened back then, how powerful would the successor of the Lan family be? Mu Jinsei indifferently swept a glance at Yu Xiqing, the mockery in her eyes growing stronger. You can't be an alchemist, but do you think everyone is like you? Coincidentally, Yixian is an alchemist. As soon as these words came out, everyone was shocked. Numerous gazes of disbelief landed on the white figure floating in the air. They were filled with shock, astonishment, and even more disbelief. Many people couldn't help but wonder if they had heard wrongly. You said she's an alchemist? Yu Xiqing couldn't help but repeat, her expression full of suspicion. Chapter 2784. Not only Yu Xiqing, but Lan Jingquang and the others also found it funny. They had to admit that as the successor of the Rainbow Pearl, Bailey Hongzhuang's talent in cultivation was indeed amazing. Not only that, Bailey Hongzhuang's medical and poison skills had already reached such a level at such a young age. It could also be said to be a heaven-defying existence. Just by combining these 2 points, Bailey Hongzhuang had already surpassed many outstanding successors. However, now that Bailey Hongzhuang was given the identity of an alchemist, this was a bit too exaggerated. Could it be that Bailey Hongzhuang doesn't need to rest every day and spends all her time on this? Lan Qingyan couldn't help but ridicule. The Lan family also had alchemists. Although she wasn't particularly clear about the effort needed to become an outstanding alchemist, she still had some understanding. That was something that required a lot of energy. She had already spent all her time on the path of cultivation. She didn't believe that Bailey Hongzhuang had unlimited energy. Even if Bailey Hongzhuang uses all her time, it's still not enough. The rejuvenation pill is a very high-grade pill. Yu Manlan couldn't help but ridicule. In her opinion, Mu Jin's and the others wanted to show off Bailey Hongzhuang's greatness, so they put so many tall hats on Bailey Hongzhuang's head. However, going too far was as bad as not going far enough. When such words were said, there had to be people who believed it. Seeing everyone's doubtful reaction, Mu Jin's, Bewitching and the others who knew about this matter didn't find it strange at all. In fact, when they found out that Bailey Hongzhuang had mastered so many abilities, they were also speechless in their hearts. However, there were always some geniuses in this world that couldn't be judged by common sense. Bailey Hongzhuang was such an example. After hearing this, Lan Borong couldn't help but frown. He vaguely remembered something in his mind. Master, the winner of the alchemist competition held by the Tiangang sect and the medicine sect seems to be called Bailey Hongzhuang. This matter had caused quite a stir in the Xingxian continent. After all, the medicine sect had been defeated by the Tiangang sect in the area they were most proficient in. This was truly astonishing. At that time, many people had inquired about Bailey Hongzhuang, and they had also paid attention to it. However, they knew that it was impossible to recruit Bailey Hongzhuang, so they did not waste too much time. Listening to Lan Borong's words, Lan Hongtai also recalled some information, and his eyes couldn't help but reveal a deep surprise. That person is Yi Xian? It is said that Bailey Hongzhuang is young sect Master D's sweetheart. Now it seems that there is no one else other than her. Lan Borong and Lan Hongtai's conversation wasn't loud, but it was still audible in this very quiet environment. When this conversation came out, Yu Siqing, Lan Qingyan, and Yu Manlin's expressions instantly became somewhat awkward. Previously, they were still ridiculing Bailey Hongzhuang, but now, it was really a slap in the face. You're really an alchemist? Yu Siqing looked at Bailey Hongzhuang, her face full of disbelief. This Bailey Hongzhuang was too strange, wasn't she? At such a young age, she actually had so many identities. Even if she was used to seeing the world, she had never seen such an abnormal existence. Chapter 2785. I'm a pill master, what's the problem? Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes flashed with a trace of ridicule. She never thought that this would cause Yu Siqing and the rest to be so shocked. However, this vicious woman had always thought highly of herself. Now that she had been dealt a blow, it was also a good thing. Once these words were spoken, Yu Siqing was completely speechless. She then asked, "The return of spring pill was refined by you? How could you possibly have the lost pill formula?" "Why should I tell you?" Bailey Hongzhuang raised her eyebrows. This woman couldn't have been shocked silly, right? She had actually asked such a stupid question. Yu Siqing was stunned. Seeing the thick disgust on the faces of Bailey Hongzhuang and the rest, she finally understood her current predicament. Previously, it was because she had been searching for the return of Spring Pill's formula for too many years without any results. Now that the return of Spring Pill had appeared, she couldn't help but ask. The Lan clan members were now looking at Bailey Hongzhuang with astonishment. They only felt that the white figure standing in the middle was resplendent and dazzling. Halo after halo was added to her body, giving people a sense of awe. What kind of person was she to be so outstanding to such an extent? If it had been an ordinary person who had experienced so much since young, it would have been an extremely difficult task for them to pull themselves together. However, Bailey Hongzhuang had relied on her own strength to grow into such an outstanding person. In comparison, Lan Qingyan, who had always used the family's resources and thought highly of herself, was dim. The difference was like cloud and mud. Yu Siqing, 40 years of grudges should now be completely settled. You better prepare yourself. Mu Jin's gaze was cold and her voice did not contain the slightest bit of warmth. The enmity between them had long reached a point where they would not rest until one of them was dead. Mu Jin's had suffered a crushing defeat several decades ago. Now, it was time for Yu Siqing to suffer the consequences of her own actions. Hearing the biting cold murderous intent in Mu Jin's words, Yu Siqing couldn't help but feel a chill in her heart. She never thought that she would be one step behind. A mistake that could not even be considered a mistake had actually caused the entire situation to change. Everyone's eyes were constantly looking back and forth between Mu Jin-se and Yu Siqing. These two women were extremely extraordinary people. However, now that the Yu clan had declined, Yu Siqing's position was no longer the same as before. From Mu Jinsei's words, it was clear that Yu Siqing's only fate was death. Everyone's attention was still on Bailey Hongzhuang. Just the fact that Bailey Hongzhuang had the rejuvenation pills recipe was already an excellent resource. Once this news spread out, who knew how many people would come begging Bailey Hongzhuang? When that time came, it was easy to imagine how much influence Bailey Hongzhuang would have on the Shengxian continent. This was the reason why the Yu clan had been standing tall all these years. After so many things had happened, it was naturally impossible for the conferring ceremony to continue. Lan Hongtai first ordered for Lan Jingquang and the rest to be locked up in the dungeon. Only then did he invite Si Tu Yen and the rest to stay with the Lan clan. Too many things had happened today. If they wanted to resolve it all, they would need a certain amount of time. Now, everyone needed to go back and think things over. Chapter 2786. In Oh Yangheng's eyes, everything that happened today was simply the biggest drama of the year. He never thought that he would see such a wonderful scene when he was invited to watch the Lan family's coronation ceremony. Although the curtains had not been drawn yet, from the current situation, there would be a change in the next leader of the Lan family. Fortunately, although he had a close relationship with Lan Jingquang, it was mainly reflected in the friendship between the Ouyang family and the Lan family. It was not his personal relationship with Lan Jingquang. Therefore, even if Lan Jingquang stepped down, this matter would not affect the relationship between their family and the Lan family. However, with such a big matter happening, the Lan family must be in a terrible fix. If they continued to stay here, they would become a joke and the Lan family would be very unhappy. Hearing Oh Yangheng's words, Lan Hongtai also nodded with a smile on his face. Ouyang family head, I'm sorry for the inhospitality today. I won't see you off. Lan family head is too courteous. We'll visit again next time. Oh Yangheng cupped his hands and left Blue Sun City with Ouyang Itian. Fortunately, you didn't marry Lan Qingyan, Oh Yangheng said slowly on the way. Hearing Oh Yangheng's words, Ouyang Itian immediately understood his meaning. Father, does it mean that Lan Qingyan has no chance of becoming the Lan family head in the future? Ouyang Itian frowned. What happened today was really beyond his expectations. All these years he had always regarded Lan Qingyan as his marriage target. He didn't expect her position to become like this. Although it was only Lan Jingquang who was locked up, Lan Qingyan was his daughter. In addition to what Bailey Hongzhuang had said before, if Lan Qingyan had known about this matter all these years, then their family was really in cahoots. He didn't think of himself as a very kind person, but doing such a thing to his loved ones was indeed a little outrageous. It's no longer possible. Oh Yangheng's tone was certain. From the moment Lan Yunxiao appeared, it proved that Lan Jingquang's family has no chance of turning the tables. Hearing Oh Yangheng's certainty, Oh Yangqian was surprised. But Lan Qingyan is the owner of the Rainbow Pearl. Oh Yangheng shook his head. You don't know how influential Lan Yunxiao was in the past. In the history of the Lan family, there were very few undisputed successors like Lan Yunxiao. Back then, not to mention the Lan family, even the other families did not deny Lan Yunxiao's character. He was born to be the successor of the Lan family. Oh Yangheng's voice was filled with emotion, as if he was thinking of what had happened in the past. At that time, Lan Yunxiao's brilliance was rarely overshadowed, just like Bailey Hongzhuang now. Hearing this, Ouyang Itian fell into silence. This was the first time he had heard his father praise someone like this. But he had to admit that Lan Yunxiao's appearance today had given him a huge shock. Chapter 2787. Bailey Hongzhuang's group returned to the Lan family. Under Lan Hongtai's arrangements, they moved into Lan Yunxiao's former residence. Although Lan Yunxiao had left the family for many years, Lan Hongtai had always been concerned about him. He had never let him go, so all these years, Lan Yunxiao's residence had always been cleaned. Thus, when Bailey Hongzhuang's group moved in, they discovered that the place was spotless. Lan Yunxiao and Mu Lingbing looked at the familiar scene before them. It was the same as when they left. There were no changes, and they couldn't help but sigh. Their father had always been concerned about him. At least, after so many years, there were still people in the Lan family who were concerned about him. Lan Yunxiao and Mu Lingbing looked at each other, a smile appearing on their faces. Sidu Yen and Mu Jin's also temporarily stayed here. Lan Hongtai had specially arranged for servants to serve them, but he still had many things to take care of, so he left for the time being. Many of the Lan family's clansmen had lost their lives or suffered heavy injuries in this internal strife. Thus, he still needed to understand the casualties and arrange for the uninjured clansmen to be treated. For a moment, the Lan family was very busy. Among them, the alchemists and doctors were even more flustered. The Yu family's clansmen had already been subdued by the Lan family. In this internal strife, the Yu family had harmed many of the Lan family's clansmen. Thus, Lan Hongtai and the rest hated the Yu family to the extreme. This time, they definitely wouldn't let the Yu family off. Disregarding the harm the Yu family had caused to their Lan family this time, even the matter of the Yu family and Lan Jingquang working together to harm Lan Yunxiao many years ago, they definitely wouldn't let the Yu family off. When Bailey Hongzhuang saw the Lan family's doctors in a flurry and lacking manpower, she walked over to help. If it was said that she harbored resentment towards the Lan family in the past, then after today's events, this trace of resentment had already dissipated. After all, not all of the Lan family's clansmen had wronged them. Moreover, the remaining Lan family's clansmen had always been on her father's side. They should treat these people with sincerity. When the injured Lan clansmen saw that Bailey Hongzhuang had actually come over to help, their faces were filled with shock. After what happened today, they knew that Bailey Hongzhuang was their family's Lan Yishuan. However, they were still a little surprised to see her help. One must know that before today, they still held an attitude of hatred towards Bailey Hongzhuang. He couldn't help but sigh. The affairs of the world were impermanent. This change was truly astonishing. "Leave this to me." Bailey Hongzhuang walked to a corner of the injured clansman and spoke to the busy doctor. Hearing Bailey Hongzhuang's words, the doctor couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. His expression revealed some confusion and astonishment. "Bailey, Miss Lan, this..." The doctor opened his mouth, but he didn't know what to say. It had to be said that Bailey Hongzhuang's appearance today had truly shocked them greatly. Moreover, such a mythical woman had appeared in front of them. They only felt that it was inconceivable. Seeing the doctor's flustered look, Bailey Hongzhuang's lips couldn't help but curl into a faint smile. "Don't worry, there's no problem with my medical skills." Hearing this, the doctor nodded repeatedly and replied in fear, "Of course." What kind of joke was this? Chapter 2788. However, with Bailey Hongzhuang's current status in the Lan family, how would they dare to ask Bailey Hongzhuang to do such a thing? Although Bailey Hongzhuang's status in the Lan family was not confirmed yet, they felt that it was highly possible that Bailey Hongzhuang would be the next master of the Lan family. After all, from the ability that Bailey Hongzhuang had displayed today, she was more than qualified to be the master of the Lan family. At least, Lan Qingyan could not be compared to Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the Lan family clansmen who had strange expressions and smiled faintly. "The reason why everyone was injured today was largely because of my appearance. I am very sorry. Since I am also a member of the Lan family, then it is only right that I do something for the Lan family. I hope that everyone will not exclude me." The crowd, who originally had some doubts in their hearts, shook their heads one after another after hearing Bailey Hongzhuang's words. "How would we dare to exclude Second Miss? Then we will have to trouble Second Mississippi." Seeing this, Bailey Hongzhuang smiled faintly and immediately began to treat the Lan family clansmen. When Bailey Hongzhuang was treating people, her voice was very gentle and her attitude was very approachable. In addition to her superb medical skills, the speed at which she treated people could be said to be extremely fast. When the crowd saw such an approachable Bailey Hongzhuang, their eyes could not help but reveal some surprise. Before today, many of the clansmen were secretly cursing Bailey Hongzhuang behind her back. They only felt that Bailey Hongzhuang thought too highly of herself. Could it be that after they came to the Lan family, she had such an attitude? But now that they took a closer look, where did Bailey Hongzhuang think highly of herself? In comparison, Lan Qingyan had been the real eldest miss in the Lan family all these years. At least, for so many years, he had never paid any attention to the ordinary clansman in front of Lan Qingyan. When Bewitching came out to find Bailey Hongzhuang, he saw that Bailey Hongzhuang was busy treating the Lan family clansman. Looking at her serious and busy side profile, Bewitching could not help but reveal a smile on his face. This was the friend that he had always been familiar with. Cruel to the enemy, but extremely good to the people close to you. Bewitching slowly walked to Bailey Hongzhuang's side and said, "Is there anything that I can help you with?" Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang turned her head and saw Bewitching with a gentle smile. The smile in her eyes deepened and she did not hold back immediately. "You can just be my assistant, will help me." Even the Hongzhuang family's doctors, Bailey Hongzhai was the Lan family doctor? Bewitching nodded. "Okay." After seeing that Bewitching also came to help, the Lan family clansmen were even more flattered. Chapter 2789. After Lan Hongtai and his men learned about the casualties, they came to visit the injured clansmen. After all, these clansmen might be on their side. As for Lan Jingquang's traitorous clansmen, they naturally didn't receive such good treatment. They were all locked up in the dungeon and would be judged later. When Lan Hongtai and his men arrived, they saw that Bailey Hongzhuang and Bewitching had completely blended in with the Lan clansmen. "Family head, isn't that Missy Xuan and young sect Master D?" Lan Borong's face was filled with astonishment, but more than that, he was pleasantly surprised. Lan Hongtai was slightly startled. After noticing the harmonious atmosphere, the smile on his face deepened. Ever since he found out that Bailey Hongzhuang was his granddaughter, he became more and more satisfied with Bailey Hongzhuang. Not only because Bailey Hongzhuang's ability was outstanding, but also because Bailey Hongzhuang's way of handling matters was truly flawless. She clearly had many halos, but there was never a trace of a spoiled brat's fault. On the contrary, the things she did were admirable. All along, he felt that Lan Yunxiao was the son he was proud of. He didn't expect that his granddaughter would make him even more proud. Family head. When everyone saw Lan Hongtai appear, they all stood up and bowed. Lan Hongtai waved his hand. "How are your injuries? If you need anything, just say it." After this internal strife, there were many Lan clansmen who needed to be dealt with. Once they were dealt with, the direct descendants of the Lan clan would be greatly reduced. Thus, their clansmen were especially important. "Many thanks, family head. Second Mrs. Medical skills are superb. Our injuries are all recovering rapidly." At this moment, a Lan clansman appeared and spoke. Once he spoke, everyone present echoed his words. "That's right. Second Mrs. Medical skills are so brilliant. With Second Miss here, what are we afraid of?" In fact, Bailey Hongzhuang's medical skills were indeed stunning. They saw the other doctors' medical skills with their own eyes, but compared to Bailey Hongzhuang's proficiency, the difference was huge. Buying people's hearts was often not a very difficult thing to do. The best time was to lend a helping hand when others were in need. Through this opportunity, Bailey Hongzhuang instantly gained the Lan clansman's recognition. Not far away, Lan Qingyan saw this scene and went crazy with jealousy. Damn Bailey Hongzhuang, actually using such a low-level method to buy people's hearts. Just a day ago, everyone's side, Lan clansmen's, everyone's side had accepted Bailey Hongzhuang's side. She had been in the Lan family for so many years, but she had never seen her clansmen look at her with such kindness and admiration. It was a kind of fondness that came from the bottom of their hearts. The clansmen looked at her with eyes full of reverence. In the past, she had never felt that there was anything wrong with such a gaze. However, after seeing this scene today, she felt that her previous judgment was wrong. Compared to the distant reverence, this kind of heartfelt love was more precious. Lan Qingyan's mood was terrible to the extreme. Ever since they returned to the clan, Lan Jingquang had been locked up in the dungeon. Even Yu Manlan wasn't spared. Chapter 2790. That night, Lan Hongtai came to Lan Yunxiao's residence. Inside the room, Lan Hongtai, Lan Yunxiao, Mu Lingbing, and Bailey Hongzhuang were gathered together. Situ Yen and Mu Lingbing didn't come. They had spent the past few days with Mu Lingbing and Situ Yen, so they already knew what they wanted to know. Lan Hongtai hadn't seen Lan Yunxiao and the others for so many years, so he must have a lot to learn. Thus, they didn't bother him. As soon as Lan Hongtai entered the room, he couldn't wait to know what Bailey Hongzhuang and the others had experienced. He was too excited. He never thought he would be able to see Lan Yunxiao and the others again in his lifetime. Lan Yunxiao was also very excited. He thought he would never see Lan Hongtai again. He never thought he would return to the Lan family one day. Lan Yunxiao didn't hide anything and told Lan Hongtai everything that had happened after he left the Lan family. In fact, Bailey Hongzhuang had told him everything in the Central Plaza today. However, after Lan Hongtai understood the details, the indignation on his face became even more intense. I never thought he would do something worse than a pig or a dog. When Lan Hongtai heard Bailey Hongzhuang's words today, he was shocked. But now that he understood the details, he felt that Lan Jingquang's actions were even more outrageous. Jingquang has never revealed a single flaw in all these years. Lan Hongtai was speechless. He never thought his son would be such a person. Everything that had happened in the past made him feel that Lan Jingquang was terrible enough. But now, it seemed his previous thoughts were nothing. So, it was Yishuan who saved you from the Yu family? Lan Yunxiao nodded. That's right. If it wasn't for Yishuan, we would still be in the Yu family. They would never see the light of day again in this lifetime. Hearing Lan Yunxiao's words, Lan Hongtai's face was filled with astonishment. Yishuan, I didn't expect you to be so powerful. I've been searching for their whereabouts all these years, but I didn't find anything. I didn't expect you to not only find out the inside story at such a young age, but also save them. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled. It was all thanks to Shirtian Pavilion's help. If it wasn't for Mo Yunjua helping me find this information, it would have been very difficult to save my parents. As soon as these words came out, Lan Hongtai's face showed a trace of realization. The Heaven Slaughter Pavilion's ability to investigate matters is indeed superb. Originally, I also wanted to ask the Heaven Slaughter Pavilion for help, but this task was too complicated, so I didn't accept it. Although he didn't know what the relationship between Bailey Hongzhuang and Mo Yunjue was, he could tell that the friendship between the two was not simple. Shirtian Tower generally would not accept such a task, but because of their friendship with Bailey Hongzhuang, they chose to accept it. Needless to say, Shirtian Pavilion must have spent a lot of time and effort to find out Lan Yunxiao and Mu Lingbing's whereabouts. Yu Xiqing and Lan Jingquang were very careful people. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been unable to find any clues for so many years. No matter what, it's good that you're back. Lan Hongtai looked at Lan Yunxiao and patted his shoulder. His face was filled with gratification. Chapter 2791. He originally thought that he would never return to the Lan family, but the situation turned out to be much better than he had imagined. Even after leaving the family for so many years, the people who supported him had never wavered. To tell the truth, when he saw the support of his clansmen in the central square, his icy heart couldn't help but warm up. As long as Lan Jingquang and the others disappeared from the Lan family, he could still live in the Lan family. After all, this was his home. Lingbing, it's been hard on you all these years. Lan Hongtai turned to look at Mu Lingbing. He had always liked this daughter-in-law of his. Back then, everyone had hoped that Lan Yunxiao would marry a young miss from an aristocratic family, but he was very satisfied after meeting Mu Lingbing. He didn't expect Mu Lingbing's true identity to be so noble. Mu Lingbing shook her head. Father, none of us wanted this to happen. You don't have to blame yourself. Moreover, Yu Xiqing's intervention had a lot to do with my parents. Fortunately, you're all back now. With you by Yunjiao's side, I can truly be at ease. Lan Hongtai's eyes flickered with relief. He hadn't felt at ease for so many years, but today he could finally be at ease. Not long after, Bailey Hongzhuang and Mu Lingbing also left the room, leaving the space for Lan Hongtai and Lan Yunxiao. The father and son hadn't seen each other for so many years, so they must have a lot to talk about. I wonder how the family will deal with Lan Jingquang and the others. Mu Lingbing's eyes flickered with a complicated light. She and Lan Jingquang were irreconcilable enemies, but Lan Jingquang was still a member of the Lan family. Thus, she didn't know how the Lan family would deal with him. If the Lan family used peaceful methods, she and Lan Yunxiao couldn't stay in the Lan family. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled. I don't know how the elders will deal with them, but Lan Jingquang, Yu Manlan, and Yu Siqing will definitely fall into our hands. As for Lan Qingyan, I will personally deal with her. Mu Lingbing's eyes flashed with surprise. You want to personally deal with Lan Qingyan? Bailey Hongzhuang nodded. She stole my rainbow pearl and kept it for herself for so many years. She will eventually return it to me. She never had the habit of letting her things fall into the hands of others. Mu Lingbing looked deeply at Bailey Hongzhuang. When she saw the determination in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes, she knew that no one could change her daughter's mind once she had made up her mind. Of course, this was also what she hoped for. Back then, Lan Jingquang and his family had cruelly snatched the rainbow's sacred pearl from Bailey Hongzhuang. Now, they were going to make Lan Qingyan return it. Mother, you don't have to worry about Lan Jingquang and the others. With grandfather and grandmother here, what's there to worry about? Mu Lingbing's eyes lit up as she smiled and nodded. Indeed, this was the benefit of having a background. Even if the Lan clan wasn't willing to take the lives of Lan Jingquang and the others, with the Tiangang sect and the Sun Moon Palace around, the situation was already out of their control. Mu Lingbing went to Mu Jinsei's room as she had some matters to discuss. Bailey Hongzhuang took a stroll in the Lan residence, heading towards the dungeon. Chapter 2792. As they passed by the dungeon, Bailey Hongzhuang saw Lan Qingyan pacing back and forth at the entrance of the dungeon. Her usually arrogant face was now filled with anxiety and worry. At the entrance of the dungeon, the Lan clan members were standing guard with cold faces. Obviously, Lan Qingyan wanted to enter the dungeon to see Lan Jingquang and the rest, but she was rejected. Bailey Hongzhuang's inky black phoenix eyes held a trace of a smile as she slowly walked in front of Lan Qingyan. The affairs of the world are truly unpredictable. Yesterday, you were still clamoring to teach me a lesson. Today, you're actually pacing back and forth in front of the dungeon. How interesting. The moment Lan Qingyan saw Bailey Hongzhuang, her face immediately turned cold. Bailey Hongzhuang, don't be so smug. Everything hasn't come to a conclusion yet. Bailey Hongzhuang shrugged and said, if you want to save Lan Jingquang, I advise you not to waste your efforts. He will never regain his freedom in this lifetime. Once these words came out, Lan Qingyan's face couldn't help but change a little. She said, that's impossible. My father is a member of the Lan clan. The clan head can't treat my father like this. However, when she said these words, Lan Qingyan herself was somewhat lacking in confidence. Usually, it was Lan Jingquang who gave her advice. However, it wasn't just Lan Jingquang. Even the second elder and the rest were all locked up in the dungeon. She was the only one left outside. For a moment, she didn't even have a single person to discuss this with. Her heart was extremely flustered. Lan Jingquang imprisoned my father and mother for so many years. As the saying goes, an eye for an eye. When he made that decision, he should have thought of this day. Stop daydreaming. If Lan Jingquang wants to regain his freedom, there's only one possibility. Lan Qingyan suddenly raised her head, wanting to know what Bailey Hongzhuang was talking about. However, Bailey Hongzhuang's answer made her face turn ashen. Unless he's dead. Bailey Hongzhuang, don't be complacent too early. Lan Qingyan gritted her teeth. No matter what happened in the past, don't forget that I'm the owner of the Rainbow Pearl now. As long as she still had this identity, she would be an important person in the Lan clan. You can't take the Rainbow Pearl away from my body. You must know that every successor of the Rainbow Pearl is destined to be the successor of the Lan clan. Hearing this, the mocking smile on Bailey Hongzhuang's lips deepened. Could it be that you really think that the Rainbow Pearl is your own? Or have you already hypnotized yourself to believe that you are the chosen successor of the Rainbow Divine Pearl during the years that I was away? Feeling the thick sarcasm in Bailey Hongzhuang's words, Lan Qingyan did not care at all. So what if you're the first successor of the Rainbow Pearl? For the past 10 years, the Rainbow Pearl with Lan and with Lan, you're the Lan clan with Lan clan. You can't take it back. Only I am the future head of the Lan clan. Lan Qingyan looked at Bailey Hongzhuang with burning eyes. Her eyes were filled with hatred and anger. If it wasn't for Bailey Hongzhuang's interference, she would have become the true head of the Lan clan. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled faintly. Since you like to daydream so much, I won't stop you. Enjoy. Chapter 2793. Inside the dungeon. The originally spacious dungeon was now filled to the brim. Lan Kaicheng and the others stayed in the dungeon, unable to hide their depressed expressions. Before today, they were still important people in the Lan family. They didn't expect that in just one day, their status would change so drastically. Our actions today were too impulsive. If we could have restrained ourselves, we wouldn't have fallen to such a state. Lan Yongtai couldn't help but complain. That's right. After our internal strife, there's no longer any room for maneuvering. Sigh, why did I make such an impulsive decision? Now it's too late for regrets. I don't know if there's a chance to redeem ourselves if we apologize to the family head. Everyone voiced their opinions one after another. The current situation was truly a headache for them. If today's incident happened again, they definitely wouldn't listen to Lan Jingquang's instigation and choose to act. Things have already reached this point. It's useless for us to regret it. We can only wait until we see the family head to express our attitude and hope to be forgiven. Lan Kaicheng's mood was also extremely complicated. His original identity was already the second elder of the Lan family. Even if he had always been on Lan Jingquang's side, if he hadn't caused internal strife today, at most he would have lost some power. At least he would be safe. However, at that time, he was blinded by what had happened and made such an irrational decision. As an elder of the Lan family, he knew the severity of internal strife too well. The family head would definitely punish them severely. However, compared to Lan Jingquang's actions, their actions were nothing. Hearing Lan Kaicheng's words, Lan Yongtai's people seemed to have found their backbone. Second elder, do you think the family head will forgive us if we beg for mercy? After seeing the teams from Tiangang Sect and Sun Moon Palace, they already knew that there was no way out if they continued to follow Lan Jingquang. Now, they only hoped to cut ties with Lan Jingquang as soon as possible. Only then could they see the light of day again. Lan Kaicheng's face darkened slightly. He thought for a moment and said, I don't know either. I just hope that the family head can let us go this time on account of our hard work and no contributions. Hearing Lan Kaicheng's words, everyone sighed. Who would have thought that they would end up in such a situation? Everyone fell into silence, their minds constantly thinking about how to plead for leniency when they saw the patriarch. Lan Jingquang's face turned ugly as he listened to everyone's discussion. These people were usually on the same side as him. Now that a disaster was about to befall them, everyone began to plead with the patriarch and completely forgot about their existence. This feeling made him very unhappy in his heart. However, he knew very well in his heart that at this point, it was already impossible for them to remake it. Therefore, he had no right to complain about Lan Kaicheng and the others. In truth, if it weren't for the fact that his actions against Lan Yunxiao were discovered, there would be no chance of him being forgiven. He also hoped to see the light of day again. Chapter 2794. Yumanlan couldn't help but panic when she saw that everyone was thinking of how to ask the house head for mercy so they could leave the dungeon. Perhaps the others had a chance of being pardoned, but what about her and Lan Jingquang? Jingquang, what should we do? Yumanlan looked at Lan Jingquang, not knowing what to do. Lan Jingquang had always been her backbone. Lan Jingquang, who was already extremely vexed, couldn't help but reveal a displeased expression when he heard Yumanlan's words. If you hadn't repeatedly assured me that Lan Yunxiao and the others were already dead and that I didn't need to continue investigating, how could we have fallen to such a state? Now, he regretted this matter the most. Back then, he had felt that the deaths of Lan Yunxiao and Lan Qingyan were somewhat strange and wanted to investigate it thoroughly. Unfortunately, he had listened to Yumanlan's words and let down his guard, resulting in today's tragedy. If not for that, he would have been incomparably glorious today. Hearing Lan Jingquang's reprimand, Yumanlan couldn't help but tremble, her face turning pale. I also didn't expect this to happen. If I had known, I wouldn't have said that. Yumanlan said in a low voice. Didn't expect, you never expected. When did you ever think of it? Lan Jingquang couldn't help but flip out. He hated seeing Yu Manlan like this the most. Yu Manlan lowered her head and intertwined her fingers. Facing Lan Jingquang's anger, she didn't dare to say anything. This matter was indeed her fault. She had long regretted it, but regret was of no use. She hated herself. She hated herself for ruining Lan Qingyan's future because of a moment of carelessness. After a while, Lan Jingquang slowly said, "As long as Qingyan still has the rainbow pearl, we still have a chance." Yu Manlan's eyes lit up. She hurriedly asked, "Really? Is there really a glimmer of hope?" Lan Jingquang nodded. "Right now, only we are imprisoned. Qingyan is still free. This proves that her identity as the successor of the Rainbow Pearl still holds some weight. As long as Qingyan can put in more effort to plead for us, perhaps there is still a chance." "That's right, Qingyan is still safe and sound," Yu Manlan muttered. "Every time, the successor of the Rainbow Pearl should be the Lan family's patriarch. This time, even if Bailey Hongzhuang and the others appear, there shouldn't be any changes." Yu Manlan's hands were. She could not stop pacing back and forth. Right now, they were only locked up in the dungeon, and the specifics of how they would be dealt with had yet to be revealed, so they still had a glimmer of hope. Compared to Lan Jingquang and the others who still had hope in their hearts, Yu Siqing's face was ashen. She thought that she would never see Mu Jinsei again in this lifetime. She didn't expect that when they met again, Mu Jinsei would appear in such a manner in front of her. It was a huge blow to her. In the past few decades, he had always been the victor. Who would have thought that there would be such a huge reversal? As long as she thought about Situ Yen and Mu Jinsei living happily together in the future, her heart would go crazy with jealousy. Chapter 2795. Yu Siqing suddenly could not understand. She had thought that she had won, so why did this happen? Could it be that Situ Yen and the others had been deceiving her all these years? Yu Siqing shook her head. This was impossible. That damned Lan Yixuan. I should have strangled her to death back then. Then things wouldn't have turned out this way. This is all because of Lan Yixuan. When she thought about how her cultivation was sealed and how she didn't even have the slightest strength to resist, and how she had been poisoned by the goo poison, she felt her scalp go numb. She had always been successful. When had she ever fallen to such a state? Could it be that she had committed too many sins and the heavens had sent some to punish her? Yu Siqing shook her head. She would never admit to such a thing. "I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong at all. That bitch and the daughter she gave birth to should have died." The Yu clan head Yu Taon was also dizzy. According to the news he had received, everyone in the Yu clan had been detained. Judging from the attitude of the Tiangang sect and the Sun Moon Palace, the Yu clan would probably be completely wiped out this time. Thinking of this possibility, Yu Tao Tian wanted to faint. If the Yu clan completely disappeared from the Shengxian continent, how could he face the ancestors of the Yu clan? There was a rainstorm in the middle of the night, washing away the stench of blood in the Blue Sun City. When the morning sun shone on the Blue Sun City again, the sky was clear after the rain, as if symbolizing the current Lan clan. Bailey Hongzhuang, Lan Yunxiao and the others arrived at the Lan clan's meeting hall early in the morning. The various elders and managers of the Lan clan were already waiting in the meeting hall. When Bailey Hongzhuang arrived at the meeting hall, she saw that Lan Hongtai and the various elders were already there. Today, Bailey Hongzhuang was going to perform a blood test in the Lan clan. This was a necessary ceremony for the Lan clan. Only by proving Bailey Hongzhuang's true identity could they confirm Bailey Hongzhuang's position in the Lan clan. This way, no one would doubt Bailey Hongzhuang's identity. Bailey Hongzhuang did not care about this at all. In fact, Lan Hongtai only wanted Bailey Hongzhuang to go through the motions so that he could announce to the world that Bailey Hongzhuang was Lan Yixuan. After all, anyone who saw Bailey Hongzhuang's face would never suspect that she was Lan Yunxiao and Mu Lingbing's daughter. At this moment, Lan Qingyan was also in the meeting hall. She still had a sliver of hope in her heart. She only hoped that Bailey Hongzhuang was not a member of the Lan family. If that was the case, everything would be like a dream and she would not have to worry anymore. "Yixuan, are you ready?" Lan Hongtai's face was filled with a loving smile, his voice gentle as he asked Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. Her delicate and beautiful face was filled with confidence as she said, "I'm ready." Hearing Bailey Hongzhuang's words, Lan Hongtai turned to look at Lan Barong. Lan Barong immediately understood and waved his hand to instruct his subordinates to bring the blood testing stone over. The blood testing stone is our Lan clan's method of testing whether someone is related. As long as the blood matches the blood testing stone, they are related by blood. If they don't, then they are not related by blood. In front of everyone's eyes, they saw a servant carrying a black stone into the room. Chapter 2796. This black stone was in the shape of a heart, glossy and deep. It didn't reflect any light, revealing a trace of profoundness. In the center of the meeting hall, the servants had already placed a table on which the love testing stone was placed. After the servants left, Bailey Hongzhuang took out a dagger and cut her 10 fingers. A drop of blood fell on the love testing stone. Everyone's eyes fell on the love testing stone. As the drop of blood dripped down, the silent black love testing stone suddenly emerged with a touch of bloody light. Immediately after, the blood merged into the love testing stone and disappeared. After Lan Hongtai and the others saw this scene, the smiles on their faces couldn't help but deepen. Sure enough, it's our Lan family's Yixuan. Welcome back to the family, second miss. Congratulations, patriarch. Congratulations. Everyone's faces were full of smiles. Lan Qingyan was the Lan family's eldest. Mississippi Bailey Hongzhuang was younger than Lan Qingyan by 3 years. She had always been the Lan family's second Mississippi. Looking at this harmonious scene, Lan Qingyan's heart was extremely upset. If it was someone else, it would be Lan Yixuan. But this person was Bailey Hongzhuang, the person she hated the most. Ever since he saw Lan Yunxiao and the others return yesterday, the smile on Lan Hongtai's face had never disappeared. Only when Lan Jingquang was mentioned did his expression change. While everyone is here, let's discuss the next family head. Lan Hongtai slowly said. Once these words were spoken, the entire meeting hall quieted down. Everyone's eyes fell on Bailey Hongzhuang and Lan Qingyan. Bailey Hongzhuang's performance yesterday was indeed the focus of everyone's attention. It was hard to ignore. Based on the Lan family's current situation, Bailey Hongzhuang was more suitable to be the next family head. After all, the Lan family's remaining members were Lan Hongtai's direct descendants. Lan Qingyan didn't have any supporters behind her. Moreover, with Lan Jingquang and Yu Manlin's previous actions as a stain, Lan Qingyan would be criticized as the next family head. I think second miss is more suitable to be the family head. Lan Barong was the first to express his opinion. Immediately after, the other elders also nodded and echoed Lan Barong's opinion. Seeing this scene, Lan Qingyan could no longer restrain herself. She immediately stood up and said, "Everything that my parents have done, I have never been aware of. Elders, how can you treat me like this because of my parents' mistakes? Could it be that all your support for me all these years were all false?" Lan Qingyan's face of Lan Qingyan's words. Following Lan Qingyan's appearance, the originally harmonious atmosphere was once again destroyed. The expressions of the various elders also changed. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled as she looked at Lan Qingyan. This woman had really learned her parents' shameless ways incisively and vividly. Now that she was pretending to be innocent, it really was like that. Lan Hongtai frowned slightly. The reason why he locked up Lan Jingquang and Yu Manlan in the dungeon but not Lan Qingyan was because he felt that Lan Qingyan was not the instigator. Everything was caused by her parents. After all, when everything happened, Lan Qingyan was only a 3-year-old child. Chapter 2797. Lan Qingyan, you actually dare to say that you didn't know anything in front of my parents. Your face is as thick as the city walls. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled faintly as she looked at Lan Qingyan with ridicule. The latter couldn't stand this passive situation anymore and wanted to salvage everything. Lan Qingyan's expression slightly changed, but her attitude was extremely firm. She had already made up her mind. No matter what Bailey Hongzhuang said, she wouldn't admit that she had anything to do with this matter. Because this was her only hope of winning. Bailey Hongzhuang, don't slander me. Why should I believe whatever you say? If I say I didn't, then I didn't. Mu Lingbing and Lan Yunxiao also frowned after seeing this scene. They couldn't be any clearer about the truth of the matter. Yunxiao, Lan Qingyan's style is very similar to Lan Jingquang's. If she stays, I'm afraid she will be a disaster in the future. Mu Lingbing couldn't help but want to stand out and tell the truth, but Lan Yunxiao pulled her hand and stopped her. Don't worry, the younger generation can solve their own problems. Hearing this, Mu Lingbing hesitated for a moment, but her gaze became firm when it landed on Bailey Hongzhuang. Her daughter was much more outstanding than Lan Qingyan. Lan Jingquang and Yu Manlan have been supporting you to become the young master of the Lan family all these years. They didn't hide anything from you. When I went to the Yu family to save my parents, I saw you coming out of the dungeon with my own eyes. Not only me, but also Bewitching. Don't tell me you want me to find a witness and say it until you can't refute it? Hearing this, Lan Qingyan's expression suddenly changed and her hands couldn't help but tremble under her sleeves. There was actually a witness. Bewitching and you are of the same mind, so how can you believe his words? Bailey Hongzhuang narrowed her eyes and smiled faintly. How about I go find the Yu family's patriarch and use some methods to make him speak the truth? Everyone didn't forget that just like Bailey Hongzhuang's brilliant medical skills, her poison skills were also extremely terrifying. That's because you tortured him into confessing. Lan Qingyan angrily glared at Bailey Hongzhuang, unwilling to continue speaking. According to the rules of the clan, the owner of the Rainbow Pearl must become the head of the clan. Could it be that all the elders have forgotten this point? Lan Qingyan's face was filled with confidence and certainty. She didn't believe that everyone could overlook the importance of the Rainbow Pearl. Following Lan Qingyan's words, as expected, the elders' faces all revealed hesitation. This was what they cared about the most. If it wasn't for the fact that the Rainbow Pearl was in Lan Qingyan's hands, Bailey Hongzhuang would undoubtedly become the next patriarch of the Lan family. To the Lan family, the Rainbow Divine Pearl was simply too important. In the history of the Lan family, the owner of the Rainbow Divine Pearl was the spiritual leader of the Lan family. His rallying power was not something that ordinary people could compare to. Although Lan Yixuan was the one chosen by the Rainbow Divine Pearl, the Rainbow Divine Pearl was indeed in Lan Qingyan's hands. It was precisely because of the importance of the Rainbow Divine Pearl that everyone still wanted to protect Lan Jingquang when he caused such a huge mess 19 years ago. But now, under such circumstances, they also didn't know how to choose. Chapter 2798. The assembly hall fell into silence. Everyone was thinking about how to decide on this matter. It was indeed a big problem. Lan Qingyan looked at Bailey Hongzhuang complacently. The latter had already determined that she had won this game, but she neglected the most important point. She wanted to see if Bailey Hongzhuang could continue to be indifferent. However, when Lan Qingyan looked at Bailey Hongzhuang, she discovered that Bailey Hongzhuang's face did not have the slightest bit of worry. On the contrary, it was as if everything was under her control. This made Lan Qingyan frown. Could it be that she had miscalculated something? Bailey Hongzhuang's current calmness was all in act? Lan Hongtai looked at Bailey Hongzhuang and Lan Qingyan who were confronting each other, and the light in his eyes gradually turned into determination. He had already thought about it. Even if he did not abide by the clan rules, he would let Bailey Hongzhuang become the Lan family's patriarch. On one hand, it was because he owed Lan Yunxiao and Bailey Hongzhuang. On the other hand, Bailey Hongzhuang's ability was much stronger than Lan Qingyan's. With Bailey Hongzhuang leading the entire Lan family, this development would definitely be much better than Lan Qingyan's. He believed that the heavens had chosen the Rainbow Pearl's inheritor to be the Lan family's savior. Even if the Rainbow Pearl was not in Bailey Hongzhuang's body, this identity would not change. At this moment, Bailey Hongzhuang's voice sounded. You murdered your family and incited internal strife in the family. How can you be the Lan family's patriarch? Do you think that the Lan family members still respect you like before? These words were like a sharp blade that ruthlessly pierced Lan Qingyan's heart. This was the thing she could not accept the most right now. Along the way today, she only felt that everyone's gaze towards her revealed a trace of unfamiliarity and disbelief. It was completely different from the respect and worship in the past. She had long been used to being surrounded by stars. Now that she was facing all this, it really made her unhappy to the extreme. What are you talking about? The patriarch was supposed to be the most powerful existence in the family. In terms of cultivation and talent, you can't compare to me in any aspect. I'm the one who should be the patriarch. Lan Qingyan raised her voice and looked at Bailey Hongzhuang mockingly. She ignored all other questions. She was already at the first level of the Purple Realm, while Bailey Hongzhuang was still at the 9th level of the Blue Realm. Moreover, with the Rainbow Pearl, her cultivation talent was incomparable to ordinary cultivators. She didn't know how Bailey Hongzhuang got to where she was today, but as long as she had the Rainbow Pearl, it was only a matter of time before she left Bailey Hongzhuang behind. Hearing Lan Qingyan's words, Bailey Hongzhuang suddenly laughed. Hee hee. Everyone, including Lan Qingyan, looked at Bailey Hongzhuang. They didn't know what Bailey Hongzhuang was laughing about. This is the first time I've seen someone so complacent after stealing someone else's thing. Don't tell me, you really think that after stealing the Rainbow Pearl, it's really yours? Lan Qingyan's expression gradually changed. In her heart, she couldn't understand the meaning of Bailey Hongzhuang's words. Now, the 7-colored divine pearl is mine. She didn't believe that Bailey Hongzhuang could take the Rainbow Pearl away from her. However, Bailey Hongzhuang's next words made everyone's expression change. Chapter 2799. Following Bailey Hongzhuang's words, the entire meeting hall fell into silence. Even the sound of a pin dropping could be heard. Everyone looked at Bailey Hongzhuang in shock. For a moment, they couldn't react to Bailey Hongzhuang's words. Lan Qingyan was also stunned for a moment. Then she couldn't help but laugh. Ah! Lan Qingyan pointed at Bailey Hongzhuang with one hand and covered her face with the other. As if she had heard the funniest joke in the world, she laughed so hard that her body trembled. What kind of joke is this? Could it be that you have 2 rainbow pearls in your body and my father only took one out? Faced with Lan Qingyan's ridicule, Bailey Hongzhuang only raised her eyebrows and said sarcastically, "My ability is naturally not something that a person like you who covets other people's things can understand. Even if you want to become the master of the Lan family, you don't have to make such a joke that no one will believe. In the history of the Lan family, such a thing has never happened before. What's the point of saying such a lie that will be exposed immediately? It's just a joke." Lan Hongtai, Lan Barong, and the rest couldn't help but look at each other. What Bailey Hongzhuang said was too absurd. No one would believe it. However, the person who said this was Bailey Hongzhuang. That would be a different story. From the time they met Bailey Hongzhuang until now, all the impossible things that Bailey Hongzhuang said eventually became the truth. With Bailey Hongzhuang's character, it was really hard for them to doubt that Bailey Hongzhuang was lying. However, Bailey Hongzhuang also had the Rainbow Pearl. Could this be true? Just because you haven't heard of it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curled into an enchanting smile. Her expression was full of certainty and confidence. Looking at Bailey Hongzhuang's expression, Lan Qingyan didn't know why, but she also felt uncertain in her heart. If you have the ability, then show it. Otherwise, don't talk nonsense here. In the next second, Bailey Hongzhuang directly stretched out her right hand, and a dazzling rainbow-colored essence force quietly appeared in Bailey Hongzhuang's hand. Following the appearance of this rainbow-colored essence force, the entire discussion hall fell into silence once again. Everyone stared blankly at the familiar 7-colored light, their faces filled with disbelief. 7-colored essence force? This is really 7-colored essence force. Lan Barong muttered to himself, as if he was completely shocked by this scene and didn't know how to respond. Isn't second Miss Rainbow Pearl already in eldest Miss' hands? Then, why does she still have 7-colored essence energy now? Could it be that the 7-colored divine pearl grew out of eldest Miss's body? Everyone looked at each other. Such a thing had never been recorded in the history of the Lan family. Following the fall of the cultivator, the 7-colored divine pearl would also disappear. However, the re-emergence of the 7-colored divine pearl was simply unheard of. Lan Qingyan stared blankly at the 7-colored light in Bailey Hongzhuang's hand. After a short moment of shock, she regained her senses. This was because she realized that the seven-colored essence force that Bailey Hongzhuang displayed was completely different from her own. Why is your seven-colored origin energy different from mine? In the next moment, a ray of seven-colored light also appeared in Lan Qingyan's hand. Chapter 2800. The rainbow light in Lan Qingyan's hand was something that everyone was very familiar with. All these years, they had often seen it on Lan Qingyan's body. However, Bailey Hongzhuang's rainbow elemental energy made everyone feel unfamiliar. These two different kinds of seven-colored yuan qi were placed together. For some reason, everyone only felt that Bailey Hongzhuang's seven-colored yuan qi was more dazzling and charming, as if it was stronger than Lan Qingyan's seven-colored yuan qi. Towards this feeling that came from the bottom of their hearts, no one could doubt it. Bailey Hongzhuang, your rainbow pearl isn't a fake, right? Lan Qingyan looked at Bailey Hongzhuang mockingly, the smug look on her face becoming more and more intense. Could it be that in order to obtain the position of the family head, you used some special method to turn your elemental energy into rainbow colors for a short period of time? However, after all, you haven't seen the rainbow elemental energy for real, so this imitation is somewhat wrong. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled faintly without saying a word. Lan Qingyan might not be clear about this evolved rainbow elemental energy, but she believed that among the family head and elders, there would definitely be people who would know. Lan Hongtai stared at the rainbow elemental energy in Bailey Hongzhuang's hand and faintly thought of a possibility in his mind. Could this be the evolved rainbow elemental energy? When these words came out, all the elders were stunned. When they looked at the rainbow light in Bailey Hongzhuang's hand again, their gazes had changed. It is said that if the successor of the Rainbow Pearl obtains the Primal Chaos Tablet's affirmation, the Rainbow Pearl will be able to evolve. After the evolution, the Rainbow Pearl's power will increase once again, and the rainbow light will be as bright and vast as the Milky Way. Lan Borong slowly explained the contents of the family's history books, and wasn't the rainbow elemental energy in Bailey Hongzhuang's hand exactly like this? The originally proud Lan Qingyan was suddenly stunned. She looked at Bailey Hongzhuang in disbelief, not daring to believe that there was such a possibility. However, Lan Qingyan's mind couldn't help but recall the scene when Bailey Hongzhuang obtained the Primal Chaos Tablet's affirmation during the Battle of Zhuolu. At that time, Bailey Hongzhuang clearly resonated with the Primal Chaos Tablet. At this moment, she recalled that when she returned to the family, her father asked her if there were any changes to the Rainbow Pearl, and she said no. Looking at it now, it wasn't that the information recorded in the family's history books were wrong, it was because she didn't win over Bailey Hongzhuang, resulting in Bailey Hongzhuang's Rainbow Pearl's Rainbow Pearl, but she didn't. Second miss, your Rainbow God Pearl and the Primal Chaos Tablet from the Battle of Deer. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes, Bailey Hongzhuang's expression, Bailey Hongzhuang's the Primal Chaos Pearl's Primal Chaos Tablet, all's eyes is right with the Rainbow Pearl's lands. Its rainbows had assessed the Primal Chaos Tablets the Zhuolan's lands it's what's written, this what was written, what it's what's written's, the All the elders' faces were filled with excitement. The Rainbow Pearl was an extremely important inheritance to the Lan family. However, the number of times a successor of the Rainbow Pearl appeared was simply too few. They didn't expect that they would be able to see an evolved Rainbow Pearl in their lifetime. It was truly delightful. In that case, our Lan family really has hope. An evolved Rainbow Pearl's effects must be extraordinary. Second miss is indeed not an ordinary person. Chapter 2801. In an instant, Bailey Hongzhuang had become the savior in the hearts of the Lan family. Such an existence with such extraordinary talent was the natural successor of the Lan family. Initially, everyone was still worried about the Rainbow's sacred pearl. But now, all these problems no longer existed. Who could still doubt that Bailey Hongzhuang would become the next master of the Lan family? Among all the members of the Lan family, there was no one more suitable than Bailey Hongzhuang. Lan Hongtai's face also revealed a gratified smile. After this civil war, the Lan family had to deal with a group of clan members. Their strength had weakened by a lot. Lan Hongtai had always been worried about this. After all, the Lan family also had enemies. However, now that they had Bailey Hongzhuang, as long as this news spread, the others would not dare to act rashly. They only needed a little more time and the Lan family would be able to recover. Lan Qingyan stared blankly at Bailey Hongzhuang in front of her. For a moment, she still could not regain her senses. Until now, she still could not believe that Bailey Hongzhuang actually had the Rainbow's Sacred Pearl. Moreover, this Rainbow's Sacred Pearl had evolved. She finally understood why Bailey Hongzhuang had been so calm from the beginning to the end. It turned out that everything was already under her control. However, she could not understand why Bailey Hongzhuang could do this. Could it be that the heavens were giving her preferential treatment? If your Rainbow Divine Pearl can evolve, so can my Rainbow Divine Pearl. Lan Qingyan hurriedly said. She looked at Lan Hongtai and the rest and said, just give me a little more time and my Rainbow Sacred Pearl will definitely evolve. It will definitely not be worse than Bailey Hongzhuang. You can't completely overrule me just because of this. Lan Qingyan was very anxious. Now, everyone was standing on Bailey Hongzhuang's side. If she did not seize this opportunity, then she would never be able to turn things around in this lifetime. Until now, you still don't understand the gap between us? Bailey Hongzhuang raised her eyes slightly. Lan Qingyan was really a stupid opponent. I am the true inheritor of the Rainbow's Sacred Pearl. Even if your parents used despicable means to transplant the Rainbow's Sacred Pearl from my body into your body, what's not yours is not yours. The Rainbow's Sacred Pearl will not be able to unleash its true power in your body. Do you understand? Bailey Hongzhuang's voice was cold and emotionless. Even if Lan Qingyan did not participate in all this many years ago, the ruthlessness and selfishness in her bones was the same as her parents. He was always greedy for other people's things and wanted to take them for himself. In fact, all of this was nothing but an idiot's explanation. Lan Qingyan stared blankly at Bailey Hongzhuang. The latter's words were constantly attacking her self-confidence. Even she couldn't help but doubt herself in her heart. The tablet didn't choose her, but chose Bailey Hongzhuang. Was it because Bailey Hongzhuang was the true inheritor? Only. She was truly a proud daughter of heaven. All these years, so many people praised and envied her. Could it be that it was all fake? I don't believe it. Lan Qingyan shook her head. The reason why your Rainbow God Pearl was able to evolve was merely a coincidence. If I were to encounter another Primal Chaos tablet, my Rainbow God Pearl would definitely be able to evolve as well. Chapter 2802. Looking at Lan Qingyan's sophistry, everyone felt somewhat helpless. In these 2 days, Lan Qingyan had suffered quite a blow. As her elders, they didn't want to completely destroy Lan Qingyan's self-confidence. However, no one took Lan Qingyan's words to heart. Lan Qingyan could naturally feel that everyone was unmoved. This feeling made her heart crumble. However, if she were to admit defeat now, she would have nothing left. Even if your Rainbow Pearl has evolved, my cultivation is still stronger than yours. Lan Qingyan looked at Bailey Hongzhuang with burning eyes. She would never admit that she was inferior to Bailey Hongzhuang. It's only a difference of 1 level. I advise you not to deceive yourself and others. Bailey Hongzhuang's cold voice was filled with indifference. Even if Lan Qingyan had reached the point of speaking without thinking, Bailey Hongzhuang still didn't have the slightest bit of sympathy. Compared to what Lan Jingquang and his family had done to them, these losses were nothing. Unless you can defeat me, I will never back out like this. Lan Qingyan clenched her hands into fists. Her eyes were filled with determination. It's not like you haven't lost to me before. Lan Qingyan was stunned. I'm no longer the same as before. The difference between the 9th level of the Blue Realm and the 1st level of the Purple Realm is not that simple. Lan Hongtai's brows gradually wrinkled. Lan Qingyan was completely fooling around at this moment. Qingyan. Just as Lan Hongtai was about to ask Lan Qingyan to give up, Bailey Hongzhuang's voice suddenly rang out. Okay, I promise you. Once these words came out, everyone present was stunned. Even Lan Qingyan was a little stunned. She knew all too well that her words were not persuasive to the elders. However, Bailey Hongzhuang actually agreed just like that. As long as you can defeat me in tomorrow's competition, I will give up the family head position. Hearing this, Lan Qingyan couldn't help but be delighted. However, Bailey Hongzhuang's next sentence made her fall into hesitation. If you lose, return the 7-colored divine pearl to me. Her cold voice was filled with determination. Bailey Hongzhuang's gaze was as sharp as a knife. Her things would never fall into the hands of others. The 7-colored divine pearl is already in my body, how can I return it to you? The same way Yu Siqing removed the 7-colored divine pearl from my body, I will do the same to you. Everyone stared at Bailey Hongzhuang in shock. Her words were far beyond their expectations. Mu Lingbing also understood the meaning of Bailey Hongzhuang's words when she was talking to her. Lan Qingyan struggled in her heart. She never thought that Bailey Hongzhuang would make such a request. Since you already have the rainbow divine pearl, why do you still want mine? Watch your words. The 7-colored divine pearl was never yours. Bailey Hongzhuang's gaze was extremely cold. In the face of such a shameless Lan Qingyan, the disgust in her heart grew even stronger. If you don't agree, then there's no need for this competition to continue. Think about it yourself. After a long while, Lan Qingyan gritted her teeth and nodded. Okay, I agree. She couldn't miss this opportunity. With her strength at the first level of the Purple Realm, she still had a chance of winning against Bailey Hongzhuang. Chapter 2803. I hope that family head and elders won't interfere in tomorrow's deathmatch. Bailey Hongzhuang turned around and looked at Lan Hongtai and the others. Her battle with Lan Qingyan was imperative. Lan Hongtai and the others all had complicated expressions. The irreconcilable situation between Bailey Hongzhuang and Lan Qingyan did not exceed their expectations. However, no matter who lost, it would be a loss to the Lan family. Family head, since the younger generation has already agreed, why don't we proceed with it? Lan Yunxiao's mellow and magnetic voice rang out in the quiet discussion hall. Lan Hongtai couldn't help but look at Lan Yunxiao. After seeing the latter's calm eyes, he muttered to himself for a moment before saying, "All right. Yunxiao, if you agree to this matter just like this, Lan Qingyan will definitely take the opportunity to take Yishuan's life if she is defeated during the competition." Mu Lingbing tightly knitted her brows. She really couldn't understand. With their current situation, there was simply no need to carry out this kind of competition. Bing, this is what Yishuan wants to do. Why should we stop her? Chapter 2804. After so many years of grudges, Mu Jin's finally found a way to vent. She wouldn't let Yu Siqing die so easily. She wanted Yu Siqing to experience all the pain she had suffered all these years. Death was too easy, but living a life worse than death was the real torture. Lan Jingquang and Yu Manlin's hearts trembled when they heard Yu Siqing's anguished wails. The scenes of how they had tortured Lan Yunxiao and Yu Manlan all these years flashed through their minds. If all of this fell on their heads, they wouldn't be able to bear it. Since Lan Qingyan was going to have a death match the next day, she was allowed to see Lan Jingquang and the rest tonight. No one knew if they would have a chance to meet again after today. When Yu Manlan saw Lan Qingyan, she couldn't help but feel excited. "Qingyan, you're here. You have to think of a way to get us out. I don't want to stay here any longer." Yu Manlin's eyes were filled with pleading. Her only hope was Lan Qingyan. Every time she heard Yu Siqing's anguished wails, she couldn't help but tremble. This kind of psychological torture was enough to make her collapse. When Lan Jingquang heard Yu Manlin's words, impatience appeared in his eyes. "What's the point of saying these useless things? Qingyan, how did you get into the dungeon today? Did the family head and the rest make any moves?" "Father, I'm going to have a death match with Bailey Hongzhuang tomorrow." As soon as these words were spoken, Lan Jingquang and Yu Manlan were both stunned. Bailey Hongzhuang said that as long as I defeat her, she will give up the family head position. As long as I become the family head, I will be able to get you out. Lan Qingyan's eyes shone brightly. This feeling of isolation and helplessness was too unbearable. Once Lan Jingquang and Yu Manlan regained their freedom, she wouldn't be in such a predicament. "That's great." Yu Manlan couldn't help but clap. Lan Jingquang's eyes darkened. What will happen if you lose? If I hand over the rainbow pearl, I might lose my life. Lan Qingyan's voice also weakened a little. However, I don't think the clan head will allow such a thing to happen. You're thinking too simply. With Situ Yen and Mu Jin's here, it might happen. Lan Jingquang furrowed his brows. Qingyan, your mother and I are destined not to be able to leave this place. You don't have to worry about us. Just focus on your cultivation. When you're strong enough, it won't be too late to avenge us. Lan Qingyan stared blankly. With my current strength, as long as I go head-to-head with Bailey Hongzhuang, the possibility of winning is not small. If I give up just like that, then I'll really have nothing left. Listen to me, don't fight over anything now. Bailey Hongzhuang can swallow her anger and plan for revenge for so many years. You can do the same. After Lan Qingyan left the dungeon, Lan Jingquang's words kept echoing in her mind. After pondering for a long time, Lan Qingyan's eyes gradually turned resolute. She would not give up like this. Bailey Hongzhuang could wait for 19 years, but she couldn't. Chapter 2805. Early the next morning, the Lan clan members had already gathered near the life and death ring. This competition would affect the next patriarch of the Lan clan. Therefore, as long as there was nothing to do, all the Lan clan members had rushed over. When Bailey Hongzhuang and the rest arrived, everything was already prepared. Wife, the strength of a Purple Realm first level cannot be underestimated. Even if you have the Blood Aura field, it will still be difficult for you to reach the Purple Realm first level. Bewitching's brows revealed a trace of worry. Ever since he broke through to the Purple Realm, he clearly understood the difference between the Blue Realm 9th level and the Purple Realm first level. Breaking through from the Blue Realm to the Purple Realm was known as the most difficult bottleneck. Once a breakthrough was made, the difference in strength would be far greater than any previous breakthrough. As the previous young master of the Lan clan, Lan Qingyan's strength could not be underestimated. Moreover, today was a battle with her back to the river. She would definitely use all her skills. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes darkened as she said, I understand, but this battle is imperative. She wanted to defeat Lan Qingyan personally in front of everyone and take back everything that belonged to her. Looking at Bailey Hongzhuang's determined appearance, Bewitching also nodded, I will always support you. Some obsessions could only be completely let go when they were done with their own hands. The reason why Bailey Hongzhuang wanted to do this was not only for herself, but also for the soul that had died tragically. If the real Lan Yixuan had not been treated so cruelly since young, she would not have endured so many years of humiliation and even died so quietly. Lan Qingyan also arrived at the life and death ring early. After seeing Bailey Hongzhuang, a sharp light flashed in her eyes. Bailey Hongzhuang did not back down. The two of them looked at each other with a distance of tens of meters between them. However, everyone present could feel the sparks between the two of them. As the time for the competition approached, Bailey Hongzhuang and Lan Qingyan walked up to the life and death ring at almost the same time. Today, Lan Yixuan and Lan Qingyan are going to fight in the life and death arena. Life and death are up to fate. No one is allowed to interfere. Lan Borong's voice slowly rang out. When the Lan clan members heard that life and death were up to fate, they couldn't help but feel shocked. The elders of the Lan family looked at the two of them with complicated gazes. However, it was obvious that the two of them had already made up their minds. Even if they did not want to see this happen, there was no point in stopping them. The competition begins now. As Lan Borong's voice fell, he quickly withdrew from the martial arts stage, and Bailey Hongzhuang and Lan Qingyan also took up their stances in the first moment. The two of them each stood on one side of the stage as a cool breeze blew at their clothes. Their outstanding and somewhat similar faces were filled with ruthless coldness at this moment. They were never sisters, but enemies who were at loggerheads with each other. In the next instant, their Yuan power gushed out from their bodies. Lan Qingyan's rainbow-colored Yuan power surged out, revealing the aura of a first-level Purple Realm. Bailey Hongzhuang's body was also surrounded by rainbow-colored Yuan power. The Yuan power that was as bright as a galaxy was magnificent and enchanting, attracting the attention of everyone present. Is this the rainbow-colored Yuan power after evolution? It is indeed different from the rest. Chapter 2806. Almost everyone couldn't help but be attracted by Bailey Hongzhuang's evolved rainbow essence energy. This was the first time the Lan clan's clansmen had seen the evolved rainbow essence energy. It was a completely different feeling from before. Seeing that Bailey Hongzhuang had attracted everyone's attention, the jealousy in Lan Qingyan's heart grew stronger. All of these originally belonged to her. In the next moment, Lan Qingyan attacked Bailey Hongzhuang without hesitation. Today, she would personally take back the glory that belonged to her. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes turned cold. She quickly retreated and dodged Lan Qingyan's attack. The first time she fought with Lan Qingyan used a sneak attack. This woman would do anything to win. She wouldn't be at a disadvantage. At the same time, the blood aura field's ability exploded. A thick blood aura quietly spread out, and a blood pillar shot up to the sky. When Bailey Hongzhuang walked out of the blood pillar, her white dress had already turned into a bright red. Different from her usual indifference and elegance, the bright red color made Bailey Hongzhuang enchanting and charming. Her pair of blood-red eyes flashed with a demonic light. This is the blood aura field. Lan Hongtai looked at Bailey Hongzhuang in shock. This was the first time he saw Bailey Hongzhuang fight. It was also the first time he knew that Bailey Hongzhuang had obtained the inheritance of the blood aura field. The blood aura field was a rather mysterious inheritance in the Shengxian continent. Many people knew the power of the blood aura field. However, those who had obtained the inheritance of the blood aura field were few and far between. Lan Borong and the rest stared blankly at this scene. No wonder Second Miss was able to defeat Eldest Mississippi. It turns out that she had the blood aura field to increase her strength. Ordinary martial arts techniques were often only suitable for a short period of time. As the cultivator's strength increased, many low-level martial arts techniques would no longer be able to perform well. However, the blood aura field was different. This was a mysterious and powerful inheritance. Even if the cultivator's strength increased, the blood aura field's increase would still be considerable. If the second young miss breaks through to the purple realm, then with the enhancement of this blood chi field, the first young miss won't be a match for the second young Mississippi. However, the second miss is currently stuck at the 9th level of the blue realm. There's a huge gap between her and the purple realm. Even with the blood aura's full boost, I'm afraid she won't be able to bridge this gap. Lan Borong couldn't help but sigh. If this life and death battle had been carried out a little later, then the outcome would have been determined without even having to fight. But now, even he was unable to determine the final outcome. Lan Qingyan nervously looked at Bailey Hongzhuang. She didn't know how much Bailey Hongzhuang's blood chi field amplified. She could only take a gamble. In the end, when she saw that Bailey Hongzhuang's aura had increased but had yet to reach the first level of the purple realm, Lan Qingyan couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. Her lips curled into a smile. It looked like she would be able to reclaim the position of the patriarch very soon. You'll regret the stupid decision you've made. Lan Qingyan proudly looked at Bailey Hongzhuang. In her opinion, Bailey Hongzhuang thought too highly of herself. That was why she proposed a life and death battle. It was really stupid. Just don't cry when you lose. Hearing this, Lan Qingyan's expression changed. She once again took the initiative to attack. In the next second, Bailey Hongzhuang and Lan Qingyan were already engaged in a crazy battle in front of everyone's eyes. Bang bang bang. Chapter 2807. There was no probing between Bailey Hongzhuang and Lan Qingyan. Once they started fighting, their goal was to take each other's life. It could be said that they were extremely ruthless. In the process of this fight, Bailey Hongzhuang also discovered the difference between a level 9 blue realm and a level 1 purple realm. If it was a normal level, this difference was nothing. But now, when she was fighting with Lan Qingyan, she could still feel that her opponent's elemental energy was stronger than hers. After Lan Qingyan discovered that she had the upper hand, her attacks became more ruthless and merciless. The last time they fought, she lost because of Bailey Hongzhuang's 3 contracted beasts. This time, Bailey Hongzhuang and herself agreed to fight on the life and death arena. Contracted beasts were not included. It would be impossible for Bailey Hongzhuang to deal with her like before. Although she was at a disadvantage in terms of elemental energy, Bailey Hongzhuang was not in a hurry. She urged the rainbow elemental energy in her body. The evolved rainbow elemental energy also increased her strength to a certain extent. The effect was much stronger than ordinary elemental energy. Bang! After Bailey Hongzhuang and Lan Qingyan's palms collided, both of them took 2 steps back. Lan Qingyan's expression changed slightly. Logically speaking, her strength should be stronger than Bailey Hongzhuang. But this collision of strength was actually a draw. Could it be the evolved rainbow elemental energy was actually so strong? Lan Qingyan did not know that if she was not using rainbow elemental energy and not ordinary elemental energy, the difference would be even greater. Rainbow glazed pagoda. Lan Qingyan's hands flipped rapidly. The rainbow elemental energy in her body gushed out continuously, and a powerful aura spread out. An exquisite 7-colored pagoda appeared in Lan Qingyan's hands. It spun around and exuded an extremely powerful force. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the rainbow-glazed pagoda, and the expression in her eyes changed a little. With her eyesight, she could naturally see that this rainbow-glazed pagoda was not ordinary. The level of this martial skill was definitely not low. When Di Beichen and Mo Yunjue noticed the 7-colored glazed pagoda, they couldn't help but look at each other with worry in their eyes. The 7-colored glazed pagoda is a martial skill owned by the Lan family. Only the inheritor of the 7-colored sacred pearl can cultivate it. It is of an extremely high level and is known as the secret skill of the Lan family. Lan Yunxiao's voice was deep. It had been too long since he had returned to the Lan clan. He had actually forgotten about this matter. Everyone's expression changed at Lan Yunxiao's words. Anything that could be called a clan's secret technique had to be extremely powerful. With Bailey Hongzhuang's current status, it would not be a problem for her to cultivate the 7-colored glazed pagoda. However, too many things had happened in the past 2 days, so no one had thought about this. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang's expression change, Lan Qingyan mocked. "Didn't you want to take back the rainbow pearl? I'll use the rainbow pearl to send you to hell right now." In the next moment, in Bailey Hongzhuang's vision, the 7-colored glazed pagoda enlarged by 10 times and turned into a real pagoda. It mercilessly pressed down on Bailey Hongzhuang. As the 7-colored glazed pagoda approached, everyone could clearly feel the changes in their surroundings. It was as if a huge mountain was pressing down on Bailey Hongzhuang. Chapter 2808. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the 7-colored glazed pagoda that was getting closer and closer to her. Her eyes flashed with a hint of seriousness. She was almost certain that this 7-colored glazed pagoda was between a mid-grade and high-grade Earth-class martial skill. It was only 1 step away from a true high-grade Earth-class martial skill. In the Shengxian continent, Heaven-class martial skills were the stuff of legends. Earth-class martial skills were already extremely impressive. Even in the entire Shengxian continent, high-grade Earth-class martial skills were extremely rare. With Lan Qingyan's strength at the first level of the Purple Realm, the power of this martial skill could be imagined. If she was not careful, she could really lose her life. Lan Hongtai and the rest were also worried. They did not expect Lan Qingyan to use her trump card so quickly. They were afraid that her hatred for Bailey Hongzhuang had reached a certain level. They had already quietly moved forward. Once Bailey Hongzhuang was in danger, they would not hesitate to make a move. Bailey Hongzhuang was definitely not a loss to the entire Lan family. In the next moment, the energy in Bailey Hongzhuang's body surged out crazily. Both of her hands were constantly forming hand seals. The speed was so fast that it was dazzling. Originally, everyone was extremely worried, but as Bailey Hongzhuang's hand gradually condensed, their expressions changed a bit. This was because they could feel that the aura emitted from Bailey Hongzhuang's body had become extremely terrifying as it continued to rise. Bailey Hongzhuang's phoenix eyes stared at Lan Qingyan. A cold and deep light flashed across her eyes. Since Lan Qingyan wanted to take her life the moment she stepped on the stage, then she might as well be straightforward. At most, she would just fight head-on. Sky water curtain. Bailey Hongzhuang snorted coldly, and her seven-colored spiritual energy instantly spread to the sky behind her. Countless water vapor lingered, and the entire Lan family was shrouded in moisture. Everyone looked at Bailey Hongzhuang in astonishment. She had clearly conjured an ocean. However, the ocean that Bailey Hongzhuang conjured was not an ordinary blue. Instead, it was rainbow-colored with specks of golden light. It was extremely dazzling. A powerful aura erupted from the water curtain and immediately met Lan Qingyan's seven-colored glazed pagoda. After seeing Bailey Hongzhuang execute this move, Lan Qingyan's face revealed a hint of surprise. However, the confidence in her eyes did not change. Bailey Hongzhuang, this seven-colored glazed pagoda is the Lan family's secret technique. Its level and power far surpasses ordinary martial skills. Although this move of yours is very powerful, there is still a gap between it and mine. The smile on Lan Qingyan's sinister eyes, and her eyes became more and more. And Lan Qingyan's S. Were Lan Qingyan's Hongzhuang. Lan Hongzhuang's. And she. Although Hongzhuang's move is powerful, it is still lacking when compared to the Lan family's secret technique. Mo Yunjue frowned. They did not expect Lan Qingyan to have such a trump card. If Lan Qingyan had used this move during the Battle of Zhuelu, then it would be troublesome. Hongzhuang's martial skills are also powerful. However, her cultivation is slightly weaker than Lan Qingyan's. The gap between the blue realm and the purple realm is too big. Beichen's face did not look good. Bailey Hongzhuang was at a disadvantage because of this. Bang! Chapter 2809. An unusually ferocious wave of elemental energy erupted. The energy ripples scattered in all directions, causing ripples to appear on the protective shield as if it could shatter at any time. This protective shield was specially added by the Lan family's elders today because they knew that Bailey Hongzhuang and Lan Qingyan's strength were not weak. However, it seemed that they had underestimated them. Two resplendent rainbow-colored lights met in the air. The seven-colored glazed pagoda continued to press downwards, trying to crush Bailey Hongzhuang. However, the skyflower water curtain continued to support her, blocking the seven-colored glazed pagoda's gravity. During this confrontation, the lights kept bursting out, but in the eyes of the audience, they were like dazzling fireworks. Lan Qingyan and Bailey Hongzhuang's expressions were very solemn. Today, their goal was to kill each other. Boom boom boom. The energy waves were extremely ferocious. The two terrifying attacks eventually turned into dazzling fireworks and dissipated. Ta-da-da! Bailey Hongzhuang's figure retreated several steps in a row, each step leaving a very deep footprint on the ground, and cracks appeared around the footprints. Just from this point, everyone could see how much pressure Bailey Hongzhuang was under. Everyone's gaze fell on Bailey Hongzhuang. Obviously, in the previous confrontation, Bailey Hongzhuang was at a disadvantage. The seven-colored glazed pagoda was the martial technique that the Lan family was proud of. Bailey Hongzhuang's cultivation was not as good as Lan Qingyan's, and it was already very impressive that she could hold on. If it was an ordinary Blue Realm level 9 cultivator, they would have already lost the ability to continue fighting. Suddenly, Bailey Hongzhuang groaned, and a trace of blood flowed out from the corner of her mouth. The thick smell of blood spread in her mouth. Bailey Hongzhuang suppressed it, but her eyes became sharper. Lan Qingyan looked at Bailey Hongzhuang with an ashen face. According to her judgment, Bailey Hongzhuang should have been killed by her attack. She didn't expect that Bailey Hongzhuang only suffered some injuries. This situation was far from what she had imagined. However, being able to severely injure Bailey Hongzhuang was something worth celebrating for Lan Qingyan. Bailey Hongzhuang, the reason why you were able to injure me during the Battle of Zhuelu was because you underestimated yourself and your contracted beast. However, my true strength is far from as simple as you think. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes were indifferent. She wiped the blood from the corner of her lips and said, "This seven-colored glazed pagoda is probably your strongest move, right?" Once these words came out, Lan Qingyan's expression couldn't help but change a bit, revealing a bit of unsightly. Bailey Hongzhuang was right. The seven-colored glazed pagoda was indeed her trump card. She was unable to use any stronger martial skills. So what? Lan Qingyan's eyes gradually became firm. This is the strongest martial skill I can use. Isn't what you're using your strongest martial skill as well? As long as I use it a few more times, you will eventually be defeated by me. My honor will definitely not be taken away by you. Master, this Lan Qingyan is too hateful. Why don't you let us join in? Xiao He couldn't stand it anymore. No matter what, they couldn't give Lan Qingyan a chance to turn the tables today. Bailey Hongzhuang shook her head. This is a battle between me and her. No one will know the final result until the last moment. Chapter 28:10. Let's try it then. Bailey Hongzhuang's voice was cold. Even though she was at a disadvantage, her aura did not diminish at all. Seeing that Bailey Hongzhuang was still so stubborn, Lan Qingyan's gaze turned cold. She wanted to see how long Bailey Hongzhuang could continue to be so stubborn. Even though using the 7-colored glazed pagoda consumed a lot of energy, her cultivation had reached level 1 of the purple realm. The energy stored in her body was much more than before. On the other hand, Bailey Hongzhuang was only level 9 of the blue realm. The amount of energy stored in her body could not be compared to Lan Qingyan's. Bailey Hongzhuang's defeat in her hands could be said to be a nail in the coffin. 7-colored glazed pagoda. In the next moment, Lan Qingyan used the 7-colored glazed pagoda again. The spinning 7-colored glazed pagoda emitted a terrifying energy and attacked Bailey Hongzhuang once again. Sky water curtain. Bailey Hongzhuang's movements were not slow either. She used the same martial skill to counter the attack. Seeing this scene, the crowd was puzzled. The previous collision had already proved that the power of the sky water curtain could not be compared to the 7-colored glazed pagoda. Now that they were clashing again, wasn't it destined that Bailey Hongzhuang's injuries would worsen? Those who knew Bailey Hongzhuang could not help but frown. Logically speaking, Bailey Hongzhuang would not do such a useless thing. Bang! Dazzling and resplendent fireworks bloomed once again, followed by a terrifying energy storm. Kacha kacha! The sound of cracks forming could be heard from the sturdy arena floor. It was as if it was cracking inch by inch. Just like the first time, the sky water curtain held on for a long time. In the end, it could not withstand the massive energy of the 7-colored glazed pagoda. After the heavenly water curtain dissipated, the 7-colored glazed pagoda's shape had also weakened significantly. However, if a portion of its power landed on Bailey Hongzhuang would definitely suffer as well. Just as the sky flower water curtain disappeared, everyone was shocked to find that a white lotus had appeared in the middle of the water curtain. This white lotus was extremely small. If one didn't look carefully, they wouldn't even notice its existence. However, when the white lotus came into contact with the 7-colored glazed pagoda, everyone was shocked to find that the remaining energy in the 7-colored glazed pagoda seemed to have exploded. In an instant, it turned into bright light and disappeared into nothingness. Lan Qingyan, who was originally confident of victory, had a change in her expression. She retreated a few steps. Everyone was stunned when they saw this. No one had noticed when Bailey Hongzhuang had added the white lotus into the water curtain sky flower. Who would have thought that it would produce such an unexpected effect? I see. Bewitching's face revealed a look of realization. He immediately recognized that the white lotus was formed by the mysterious ice fire. I was wondering why Hongzhuang would use the same move twice even though she knew that she would lose. It turns out that there was such a change in her moves. Mo Yunjue's eyes lit up. This seemingly small change had allowed Bailey Hongzhuang, who was originally at a disadvantage, to be evenly matched with Lan Qingyan. Bailey Hongzhuang and Lan Qingyan spat out a mouthful of blood at almost the same time. Their auras became weaker. Chapter 28:11. It seems that I have underestimated you. Lan Qingyan's expression was extremely ugly, and the words came out from between her teeth. She thought that the advantage was already in her hands, but she didn't expect Bailey Hongzhuang to have such a variable. The most hateful thing was that she didn't see through it and fell for it instead. Looking at Lan Qingyan's angry appearance, Bailey Hongzhuang still had a look of contempt and indifference. With Lan Qingyan's impetuous character, it was normal for her to suffer such a loss. "This time, I won't let you take advantage of me." Lan Qingyan's expression was cold. Now that she finally had the upper hand, she wanted to use this opportunity to attack Bailey Hongzhuang in front of all the clan members. She didn't expect Bailey Hongzhuang to find such a point to restrict her. She couldn't continue like this. She had to defeat Bailey Hongzhuang with an absolute advantage. 7-colored glazed pagoda. The origin energy in Lan Qingyan's body circulated crazily, and the third 7-colored glazed pagoda appeared. However, her offensive didn't end like this. She wanted to kill Bailey Hongzhuang in an unstoppable manner. Holy Land Demonic Palm. The second martial skill followed closely behind the 7-colored glazed pagoda. Although its power was slightly weakened, it was still impossible to ignore. Just when everyone thought that Lan Qingyan's attack had ended, her hand seals condensed again. 1,000 lightning strike. Following the appearance of these 3 attacks, everyone's expression changed. These 3 attacks were all Earth rank martial skills, and when Lan Qingyan, who was at the Purple Realm first level, executed them, the power was abnormally shocking. Bewitching and the rest couldn't help but look at Bailey Hongzhuang worriedly. Lan Qingyan could be considered to have used all of her strength at this moment. The Lan family's foundation was so strong that the power of these martial skills was bound to be shocking. If an ordinary Blue Realm 9th level cultivator encountered such an attack, only death would await them. Mu Lingbing couldn't help but clench her fists. Deep worry emerged in the depths of her eyes. She prayed in her heart, nothing must happen to her. After Lan Qingyan executed her move, Bailey Hongzhuang also quickly executed her martial skill. Sky Water Curtain. Fire Sea Burial. Sky Demon Lotus. 3 attacks quickly formed in Bailey Hongzhuang's hands. The 7-colored Sky Water Curtain shone brilliantly, while the Fire Sea Burial was a dazzling red. The Rolling Heatwave and the Water Curtain Heaven Flower were 2 completely different attributes, but at this moment, when Bailey Hongzhuang used it, there was not the slightest bit of resistance. However, when he saw the Sky Demon Lotus, Bewitching's eyes, Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes. He had seen Bailey Hongzhuang execute the Sky Demon Lotus before, but at that time, the Sky Demon Lotus was black. At this moment, Bailey Hongzhuang's Sky Demon Lotus was white and even carried a faint chill. Could it be this Sky Demon Lotus was formed by the ice-cold fire? Bewitching's heart skipped a beat, and he quickly guessed the general idea in his mind. At this time, no one paid close attention to the wonders of each martial skill. They only saw the 3 attacks colliding together one after another. Chapter 28:12. Boom, 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 boom. Loud noises reverberated and the ground began to tremble. Even through the protective barrier, everyone could feel the terrifying power. It was as if an earthquake had occurred, causing everyone to feel extremely uneasy. In a short period of time, the entire martial arts stage had turned into ruins. Only the protective barrier remained. Whether it was Bailey Hongzhuang or Lan Qingyan, they were both the top figures of the younger generation in the Shengxian continent. The power that erupted from their full strength was naturally terrifying. If there was no protective barrier to prevent the power from leaking out, the entire Lan residence would have been destroyed. Smoke and dust rose from all directions. The originally clear line of sight was obstructed just like that. It was impossible to see the situation inside. Lan Hongtai and the rest's faces became solemn. Under the isolation of the protective barrier, even they were unable to determine the real situation inside the martial arts stage. It was probably too late to stop it now. Everything depended on Bailey Hongzhuang and Lan Qingyan's luck. However, with their rich battle experience, they all understood that with Bailey Hongzhuang's cultivation, the power that erupted just now was already extremely powerful. If it was not Bailey Hongzhuang, any other Blue Realm 9th level cultivator would only have a dead end under such circumstances. However, they also knew that Lan Qingyan's power was still a little stronger. The gap between the Purple Realm was really too big. As the smoke and dust gradually dissipated, a ruined martial arts stage appeared in everyone's line of sight. Everyone could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. Their faces were full of shock. Lan Qingyan's white dress was now covered in dust. Even her beautiful face was unavoidably stained with dust. She was in a sorry state. Specks of blood appeared on her clothes. Although her face was pale, there was a trace of a smile on her lips. This was because in Lan Qingyan's line of sight, she did not see Bailey Hongzhuang's existence at all. Obviously, Bailey Hongzhuang was crushed under the ruins. Ha! Ha! Lan Qingyan could not help but laugh. There was a bit of madness in her laughter, but more than that, it was joy. In the end, she won the bet. Bailey Hongzhuang had overestimated herself. She thought that she could defeat her, but now she was suffering the consequences of her own actions. Bailey Hongzhuang, from now on, I am the true successor of the Lan family. You're nothing more than a short-lived blocking stone. When everyone saw this scene, their expressions changed abruptly. Their gazes constantly searched for Bailey Hongzhuang among the rubble, hoping to find her figure. However, the shattered stage had already turned into ruins. Once Bailey Hongzhuang was buried deep within, no one would be able to discover her. The strongest person is still the first miss. The first miss has successfully broken through to the Purple Realm. If the second miss is also a Purple Realm expert, then the situation will be completely different. What should we do now? Will eldest miss really become the next patriarch? The members of the Lan family looked at each other. Although Bailey Hongzhuang had only been in the Lan family for a short period of time, everyone had already determined that Bailey Hongzhuang would be the next patriarch of the Lan family. Now that this kind of situation had suddenly occurred, they did not know what to do. Lan Yunxiao and the rest looked at this scene and fell into silence. However, they mostly did not believe it. Chapter 28:13. Yunxiao. Mu Lingbing couldn't help but look at Lan Yunxiao with resentment in her clear eyes. Yesterday, she wanted to stop all of this from happening, but Lan Yunxiao didn't allow her to. If something really happened to Bailey Hongzhuang, she definitely wouldn't forgive Lan Yunxiao. Lan Yunxiao's brows were tightly knitted. He felt that Bailey Hongzhuang must have her own ideas when she suggested this. However, the current situation was truly out of her expectations. Let's wait a little longer. What are we waiting for? Let's take advantage of this opportunity to find Yixuan. Perhaps we still have a chance of survival. Mu Lingbing couldn't help but feel anxious. She only had one daughter and they finally reunited after so many years. She absolutely couldn't accept losing Bailey Hongzhuang. If we go in now, then Hongzhuang is destined to lose. Mo Yunjue's expression was complicated. He had an indescribable trust in Bailey Hongzhuang. Even though Bailey Hongzhuang was at a disadvantage in the previous competition, he still didn't think that the situation would be that bad. He and Bailey Hongzhuang had participated in the competition together, so he was very clear about Bailey Hongzhuang's abilities. There was something fishy about today's situation. At this time, Di Beichen spoke up. Uncle Aunt, don't be impatient. Hongzhuang will be fine. Others didn't understand Bailey Hongzhuang's methods, but Di Beichen was very clear about them. Just the existence of the Chaos Ring meant that Bailey Hongzhuang wouldn't easily fall. Moreover, if it really came to that kind of dangerous moment, the three contracted beasts wouldn't be able to resist taking action. The reason why there wasn't any movement now must be because Bailey Hongzhuang wasn't truly in danger. Hearing Di Beichen's confident words, Mu Lingbing nodded hesitantly. She was very clear about Di Beichen's feelings for Bailey Hongzhuang. If something really happened to Bailey Hongzhuang, the first person who couldn't hold back would be Di Beichen. Lan Hongtai and the rest also heard Di Beichen's words, so they all remained silent for a moment, waiting to see if there would be any other unforeseen events. After laughing complacently for a while, Lan Qingyan looked below the stage. Seeing Mu Lingbing's group's fervent expressions and not giving up hope, she only found it incomparably funny. The situation had already developed to this point. Could it be that Bailey Hongzhuang could still salvage the situation? But since Mu's groups, she naturally wasn't in a hurry. She was afraid that Mu Lingbing's group would rescue Bailey Hongzhuang and immediately treat her. If Bailey Hongzhuang survived, it would be extremely disadvantageous for her. On the other hand, Bailey Hongzhuang was now seriously injured. If she delayed any longer, Bailey Hongzhuang's chances of survival would be even lower. Why would she mind waiting here for a while longer? The atmosphere suddenly became strange. The Lan clan members looked suspiciously at Lan Hongtai and the rest, who were quietly sitting on the stage, and Lan Qingyan, who was calm and composed on the stage. They didn't understand the situation before them. But since even the master didn't say anything, they could only continue to watch. After a while, Lan Qingyan was the first to lose her patience and said, "Master, can we now announce the results of this competition?" Lan Hongtai frowned slightly, his eyes flashing with a complicated look. He also didn't know what Bailey Hongzhuang was planning. Chapter 28:14. This is... Lan Hongtai sensed this aura in astonishment. Yixuan is breaking through? Lan Borong's expression was also a bit stiff, but he nodded hesitantly. It seems so. Due to Bailey Hongzhuang's lack of movement, Bewitching and the others' expressions gradually became a bit strange. After sensing this aura, they all revealed relieved smiles. As expected, Hongzhuang has her own plans. Mo Yunjue's handsome face revealed a trace of a smile. Previously, there had been no movement for so long that even he couldn't help but feel anxious. Fortunately, the situation was developing in a good direction. Hongzhuang is probably doing this on purpose. She wants to use this opportunity to break through to the Purple Realm. Bewitching's eyes narrowed slightly as a wisp of wisdom quietly flashed through them. Breaking through to the Purple Realm wasn't an easy task. Although Bailey Hongzhuang had previously sensed that she wasn't far from breaking through to the Purple Realm, she hadn't been able to successfully break through until now. Battles were often the best way to promote a cultivator's breakthrough. In the entire Lan family, there was probably no other suitable person other than Lan Qingyan who could promote Bailey Hongzhuang the best. If Bewitching had previously felt that there was something fishy about this matter and didn't understand some things, now he completely understood. Lan Yunxiao and Mu Lingbing both let out a sigh of relief. They could clearly sense that Bailey Hongzhuang's aura was breaking through from the Blue Realm to the Purple Realm. Once the breakthrough was successful, Lan Qingyan wouldn't be Bailey Hongzhuang's opponent at all. The moment she sensed Bailey Hongzhuang's aura, Lan Qingyan's smile froze. She had clearly obtained victory, but she didn't expect such an unforeseen event to occur at such a crucial moment. Bailey Hongzhuang broke through? She actually broke through in the middle of the battle. His body stiffened bit by bit. The reason why she was able to gain the upper hand was because she had broken through to the first level of the Purple Realm. If Bailey Hongzhuang's cultivation was the same as hers, then all of her advantages would disappear. She thought that Bailey Hongzhuang was dead for sure. Even though her internal injuries were not light, she did not care too much, because she had taken care of her most important opponent. But what should he do now? Just when Lan Qingyan was hesitating and not knowing what to do, Bailey Hongzhuang's voice suddenly sounded. Isn't it a little too early to be happy about the outcome of the battle? The next moment, rubble flew everywhere as Bailey Hongzhuang leaped out from the rubble. Her delicate and beautiful face was no longer pale. Instead, it was rosy like a peach blossom. Her original injuries had completely disappeared after she broke through to the Purple Realm. She had originally intended to use this opportunity to make a breakthrough today. Only when she had also reached the Purple Realm would the competition between the two of them be truly fair. Lan Qingyan looked at Bailey Hongzhuang across from her, and her body couldn't help but tremble. Only one sentence kept appearing in her mind. What should I do now? What should I do? When the Lan clan members saw that Bailey Hongzhuang had broken through to the Blue Realm at such a crucial moment, they were also stunned. This reversal of the situation was beyond everyone's expectations. However, at this moment, everyone understood that Bailey Hongzhuang was destined to be the next Lan clan head. Chapter 28:15. I let you fight to your heart's content just now. Now it's my turn, right? Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curled into a faint smile. Her posture was wanton, but her eyes were cold. Breaking through to the Purple Realm was indeed not an easy task. Even though she felt that she was getting closer and closer to breaking through to the Purple Realm, there was still a gap. Her previous fight with Lan Qingyan was also to stimulate her own potential and smoothly break through to the Purple Realm. Lan Qingyan looked at the smiling Bailey Hongzhuang in front of her and couldn't help but tremble. She never thought that Bailey Hongzhuang could break through so quickly. In comparison, Bailey Hongzhuang was younger than her by 3 years, but her cultivation had reached the same realm as her. In addition to her medical and poison skills, and the evolved rainbow pearl, was she really that much worse than Bailey Hongzhuang? At this moment, Lan Qingyan's confidence took a hit. This hit was harder for her to bear than her position as the clan head being snatched away. Sky flower water curtain. Bailey Hongzhuang didn't care about Lan Qingyan's thoughts. She wanted to take back what belonged to her today. The same move, when used by Bailey Hongzhuang after breaking through to the Purple Realm, had a completely different effect. Everyone was shocked to find that the heavenly flower water curtain was a whole generation bigger than before. The entire Lan family was covered in water vapor. Just feeling the power made everyone tremble uncontrollably. Bailey Hongzhuang's originally depleted origin power had been completely restored after the breakthrough. At this moment, the eruption was also very shocking. Lan Qingyan also immediately used a martial technique to resist. However, her strength couldn't compare to Bailey Hongzhuang. Now that she had lost confidence in herself, what else could she use to resist Bailey Hongzhuang? At this moment, Lan Qingyan could only shout, "Save me!" Facing Bailey Hongzhuang's attack, she already had no hope, but she didn't want to die like this. Lan Borong and the others frowned. All these years, they had watched Lan Qingyan grow up and become the pride of the Lan family. They never thought that she would end up like this. Si-Tu Yen and Mu Jinsei were already standing near the stage. Although they didn't say anything, their attitude was very clear. That was, no one should even think about saving Lan Qingyan. The entire martial arts stage was covered by the 7-colored light. Everyone could only see the dazzling light, but they couldn't see what was happening inside. Bailey Hongzhuang had done this on purpose. Lan Qingyan had already fallen to the ground after being severely injured. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang approaching her step by step, the fear on her face intensified. "Bailey Hongzhuang, no matter what, I'm still your sister. Do you really want to risk universal condemnation?" Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang sneered, "Weren't you very proud of killing me just now? Now you're saying this to me. Don't you think it's funny?" Her ink-black phoenix eyes bloomed with a cold light. Between the two of them, there wasn't any kinship. In fact, they couldn't wait for the other to die. When Lan Jingquang did all those things, he had already severed all ties with his family. What do you want to do?" Lan Qingyan propped herself up and crawled back step by step. "Patriarch and the others won't allow you to do this. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.